I think we are live. I hope that sound and pictures are working. I think I'm in focus. It's Thursday, which is Baby Friday. My entire week basically revolves around getting to Friday from Saturday back to Friday. It's a whole arc that I look forward to Friday every week. So Thursday, I am calling Baby Friday because we are so close. I mean, we are right on the cusp. And honestly, if you can just get through lunch on Thursday, let's just call after lunch on Thursday, that is Friday. That's Friday. That's where Friday begins, after lunch on Thursday. For everyone who's watching, you can redo your calendars, set it up. If you don't want meetings on Friday afternoon, tell them, Thursday afternoon sort of like Friday afternoon now. So let's all get on the same page. If we band together, we can make this happen. Welcome to the show. This is the OscopeWizard show. I'm the OscopeWizard. I'm Gabe. Thank you for joining me for about 20 minutes. And that reminds me, I got a timer, so let's start the timer so that I don't belabor the point. And yeah, it's an awesome day. It's getting a little chilly here where I live. It's May, so normally in May, we are battening down the hatches and turning the AC on and getting out our shorts and our tiny t-shirts so that we can brave the sauna that is known as the beginning of summer here. But this weekend, we are still in the 40s. And this week we're kind of chilly, so that's cold for us. That's cold. That's Fahrenheit, not Celsius, because I think 40 degrees Celsius. That's sweltering. That's warm, I think. So what do we got going on? Feels like I had one more thing that I wanted to say. Oh, I know what it is. Hold on. Going through the record collection this morning, figuring out what I wanted to listen to a lot before the show here to chill out, and I came across this. Can we see it? Gregorian chant. My daughter walked in. She was like, "What is happening in here?" It is weird if you've never listened to it, but beautiful and totally mellowing. And yeah, cool thing about this album is this little thing right here. If I can get it to go. Let me go this right here.
Welcome to the OscopeWizard!
That actually has a sample from this album right here. So that the intro to the show has a sample from this album, which is pretty cool. And I don't think this is, so there's a question, is this my dad's old record? This is not. This was something that I picked up at, I don't think this is my dad's old record. I think I picked this up at a used record shop just because it's Gregorian chant. I didn't have any Gregorian chant albums, and I thought, I want to sample that and see what I can do with it. It's the opening to the song's actually a sample from a song that, like a full song that I made, that I'll post a link to the song in the description of this video, and you can listen to the whole thing. It's weird. Of course it's weird because I made it. Oh, wait a second. Somebody is saying that is Dad's old record. Maybe it is Dad's old record. I thought this was a used record that I picked up. It's a good thing my sister's watching, now that she's keeping me straight. You gotta keep people straight. They'll tell all kinds of stories. Maybe it is. I do have all of my father's old records. I also have all of my great uncle's old records, and I also have a ton of records that I've purchased from thrift shops, and even some new records that I purchased that are current. So thank you so much, sis, for keeping me straight. We'll get this done. Today also, big news at the house here at the Techno Lair. Homemade bagels. We have been experimenting with homemade bagels. My wife, Mrs. OscopeWizard, is bound and determined to make homemade bagels look like store-bought bagels, better than store-bought bagels. I'm enjoying the process. We're not quite to the look of store-bought bagels. We have conquered the taste, though. They taste amazing. The dough this time was a bit batter-like and felt like it was attempting to come alive, but once boiled and baked, awesome. 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 Bagels are awesome. Somebody asked, is an album like a really big CD? Yes, except you can't skip tracks and you have to listen to the whole thing. And so no, not at all. Not at all. Like a really big CD. It's the opposite of a CD. What are we doing today? We are going to, first of all, let me introduce this guy. This is a Bluetooth speaker. Probably you guys have them at your house somewhere, or Bluetooth headphones. And today we're going to take a look at this speaker, maybe to look at music, but also I have this cool little adapter in the back of it. You see this little, it looks like a button in the back, and that is this this power adapter that I got. I'm really excited about this. I don't know if your kids destroy, do your kids destroy the connectors on all of your electronics by inserting charging cables in them? I have replaced so many ports on my electronics, it makes my head spin, and they are real fiddly to replace because you have to crack open the screen and melt the glue with the dryer and then pop everything apart, unsolder a connector, resolder a connector, and then it might still be broken, which is the worst part. So yeah, you might destroy your own. You might destroy your own. That is a distinct possibility depending on how careful you are. This little system right here is a lifesaver. It is magnetic. It's magnetic, so you just, boop. I love it. I love it. It is hypnotic. I am in love with clever cables and connectors, and I basically get a new connector or adapter of some type. I got a crazy HDMI adapter that I'm going to use later on. I have a crazy HDMI dummy plug that I'm going to use later on for some testing. And if I can find a new adapter, I get it. And we have a constant flow of adapters into the OscopeWizard household. So that is really cool. Another cool thing that I got was this charger. So this charger shows the amperage that is going into the device. So I can see that this Bluetooth speaker is probably almost fully charged. It's only taking 100 milliamps. If I was to plug in a different device, so I have my phone right here. Plug in my phone with the same adapter. That's really cool, same adapter. It's taken 200 milliamps of charge. Oh, up to 1.6 amps. So now the phone was a little low. It was at 76%. So it is actually charging. And this cool little charger shows you how much current is going into your device so you can tell whether it's charging or not. And also whether you got that quick charge. I know everybody wants the quick charge now, which is multiple amps. And this little adapter will tell you whether you got the quicker charge or not. So it's a cool, another clever adapter. The reason I am showing you all of this is because we are still talking about probes, and let's see what the chat says before I switch over to probes. Wait a second, some people cannot change the adapters themselves? What? Everybody can change the adapter yourself. You just go to YouTube and you say, how do I change this adapter? And it'll say, here you go, here you go. First of all, you need an incredible amount of patience and a comfort level with failure. That is what you really need to become. You need to become zen with failure. And once you're there, you can repair things, which that's basically the state that I have tried to put myself in. And does the charger show how much time is left until it's full? No, it's not that smart. It just shows how much current is flowing into the device. So, you know, I can tell these are engineers on the phone now, or on the line now, because engineers, when we see something, the first thing we do is ask if it could be a little bit better. Have you just made the most awesome little device in the world? well, I just noticed if you had done these 4 things, it would be so much better. That is like the engineer's curse. We can't help it. We can't help it. To our friends and relatives, I apologize on engineers' behalves everywhere. It is just the way we are wired. It's the way we're wired. I don't know. I don't know. I wish we could be nicer. And do I think that I could replace a cable or connector with the help of a toddler? No. No, you can't. You can't even use the bathroom with the help of a toddler. It helps from toddlers is you got to basically have nothing for you if you have toddlers. Run, and thoughts and prayers on that one. So good and plenty break. How are your guys' Thursdays going? Hopefully as well as my Thursday. Just like I was saying, Baby Friday, love it. On to the show. We, today, are going to look at the closest thing to magic that I own. If you'll remember, we were doing probes. So we were talking about the ZS30 probe, and we were going through our probe drawer. So we're going to yank out another probe from the probe drawer, see what I can find. And today, I have found this little guy. This is called a near-field probe, and it works with magic and magnetic and electrical fields, which essentially seem like magic to me because I have a really hard time wrapping my brain around it. But this probe just has to be held close to something to see a signal. I get engineers all the time. Do you have a magic probe that I don't actually have to connect? Yes, I do. It's this guy. So let's dive in and check it out a little bit and see what I can find out. And we're going to measure some things today, which is a miracle because so many episodes we get into and we don't actually measure. First things first, let's bring my camera with me so you can see what I'm doing. Whoa, we got craziness happening now. I don't know what's happened. I think the screw's gotten loose. Hate it when your screw gets loose. Happens sometimes. Let's disconnect what we were working on before. It's times like this when I think of Mr. Rogers. I used to be a big Mr. Rogers fan. I guess used to be is a bad term. I am a big Mr. Rogers fan. And I remember my mom has this story that she loves to tell. I ran into the room one day, a wee lad, a toddler, and I said, Mom, do you know who loves me? And my mom, oh, bless her, she was so excited because she did know who loved me. She loved me. And she says, no, Gabriel, who loves you? I said, no, Mom, do you know who loves me? No, Gabriel, who loves you? Mom, Mr. Rogers loves me. And I broke her heart into a million pieces on the ground. And that's what children do. Heartbreakers. But Mr. Rogers really does. I think he sincerely loved people. And yeah. Anyway, little Mr. Rogers story for you, whether you wanted it or not. Putting away the old ZS30. Get that out of the way. Let's plug in my brand new HZ15 near field probe into the oscilloscope. And let's look at some stuff. Let's see what we can find. See me plug it into the front of the oscilloscope. And of course we're going to hit preset. Got to hit preset because we're pros. And I'm getting texts because I'm not a pro and I did not put myself on Do Not Disturb. Let's look at the display so we can see a little bit more about these probes. I am using one of the near field probes from this set. So this is an HZ15 E and H near field probe set. E stands for electrical, H stands for magnetic. feels like I probably should explain what the H for magnetic means. Maybe in the next episode we'll do a little explanation there. But you get a slew of little probes, and you can hook them up to your oscilloscope. There's a picture of them hooked up to the oscilloscope right here. This is one of our handy dandy portable. Actually, this is the handy dandy portable spectrum analyzer. You can also hook them up to an oscilloscope, which is what we're going to do today. I thought that we would begin by checking out the datasheet, because the datasheet's a good place to begin when you are exploring a new topic or a new product or a new device or anything new. Check out the datasheet. So it's a whole slew of them. Here's a picture of the way they work. So E-field probes, when current travels through a wire, it generates an electric or magnetic field, and these probes pick them up by just being held near them. The one that we're going to be using today is an H-field probe. It's a circle, so it's got the little loop on the end, and when the magnetic field passes through the loop, it induces a voltage, and the voltage is read by the oscilloscope, because that's what oscilloscopes do. They read voltage, and we have different probes for different applications. We have some tiny ones that you can look at just little pins on a board, on a part with, and these are a little bit larger, so you can kind of wave them over your board and figure out where noise is. But despite the fact that you cannot hear something, doesn't necessarily mean that it is not making noise. And it might not be making auditory noise that you could hear with your ear. It might just be making electrical noise. And we do a lot in the world to try to mitigate electrical interference. There's a whole arm of the government, the FCC, that is in charge of making sure that interference doesn't mess with radios. So when something is operating, let me get this old GPU. Am I the only one who likes to look at printed circuit boards? I love looking at these printed circuit boards. I find them hypnotic. The layout. My first job out of school, I worked as part of the job was a layout engineer, and I used to lay out boards similar to this, not as cool as this, but just laying all this out to be even and symmetrical. It's just, I don't know. It's an art form. It's an art form. Let's get that out of the way. Maybe not on the carpet. Maybe not on the carpet. So, as I was saying, charger. We got a charger here. Let me put the camera on it so you can see. So we're charging my phone. You can see we're charging my phone, so I'll set my phone down. And I want to, so I can't hear the charger. Let me lean in, see if I can hear the charger. No audible noise from the charger, but is there electrical noise coming out of this charger on the back of the charger or somewhere on the charger? Yeah, it's got the FCC logo right there. Let's see. So that means that presumably it will not interfere with any radios. And there is a whole slew of EMI test houses that specialize in making sure that your device or a device does not interfere with other electronics around and other communications around. So we're going to do a little testing of our own using our EMI near field probe and see if this charger is actually making any electrical noise. So you just basically hold the probe near the device that you want to test, and you just move the probe around and you see what pops up on the oscilloscope. Let's see. Oh. The chat says if you took out your Christmas sweater from the dryer, the H-field probe would pick up the static charge. I wonder if that's actually true. I kind of want to check out a Christmas sweater. I do have some sweaters. Do I have any wool sweaters? I may have a wool sweater that I could pull out of the dryer and then like do some crazy tests on. Let's look at the oscilloscope though, and we can, let's get it going. There we are. We can determine whether we see anything. So first things first, let's get the oscilloscope set up so it's a little bit more sensitive. So I'm at 50 millivolts per division. Now I don't know if there is going to be noise coming out of this guy. The oscilloscope I'm using today is the RTP164, which is a 16 gigahertz oscilloscope. I only have this little near field probe, which is a 3 gigahertz probe, so I'm going to be vastly overpowered in the oscilloscope realm. That's fine. That's fine. I can move this around. Oh, I do see something in the background there. So if I move this around, I can see something. One of the things I should have done, is hook up my probe holder, because I have it and I love it. I love this probe holder, and that will hold the probe for me while I control the oscilloscope. So I can put my near field probe in the probe holder, if I can remember how to work it. There we go, right there. Maybe we'll turn it so the loop is perpendicular, parallel to my plane, so the magnetic fields will go through it. There we go. I can see if I move the probe over, I can, oh, there we go. Let's lock it right there and see if we can see what that looks like, that noise. Goodness. Somebody was messing with this. I think I was messing with this, and there we go. There we go. See, it's so close to whatever that spike is. Oh my gosh! Really?
5 minutes remaining!
Well, it's 5 minutes left, guys. 5 minutes left. Let's get back to looking at our scope really quickly, because since we got everything lined up, and we can continue this next week. Oh my goodness! We're gonna go back into the probe drawer. Goodness gracious alive. Holy moly, we're going to go back into the probe drawer because I can't press the button right. Live is exciting. Live is exciting and oftentimes frustrating. My oscilloscope. Hopefully everybody following along. Now I have my oscilloscope hooked up and displaying on the screen. Let's give this a little bit more time and see what we see on my charger. So I'm only capturing 25 nanoseconds, which is not very long. Let's back it out to, I don't know how long. Let's see what we see in the background there. Okay, I can see some stuff pulsing around at 20 millivolts there. Hopefully you can see it too. Basically, we're just looking for noise, so any kind of noise. So if I crank this all the way out to a millisecond in electrical time is essentially an eternity. It is just forever. Let's move my trigger position up. I could just grab it, move it up here. So we trigger on these spikes in the background. Hopefully you can see them. Let me turn the intensity up. I think you can see them a little bit more. There we go. Now I can really see them. Then I see the occasional burst. So I'm actually picking up noise wirelessly with my incredible E-field or H-field probe. And that is where I will leave it for this week. Thursday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for about 20 minutes and talking about, what did we talk about? Bagels. We talked about magnetic power adapters. We talked about this new USB charger I got. We talked about good and plenty's, printed circuit boards, Gregorian chant. It's a great day. I don't know all the nerds in the world, and I'd love to meet them, so please tell a nerd in your life to hang out. OscopeWizard.com. If you're not also already subscribed, please subscribe so that you know when the live stream is going to crank up. And I will be hanging out in the chat after I hit the end button, and we could chat and hang out for a little bit longer. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. Bye.